you, Adrian, very, very much indeed. And thank you for being our first corporate sponsor to make sure it will be a really good partnership. And I'd like to move on to one of our candidates, because obviously there are two sides to Even Break. There's the employers, inclusive employers that we try to help, and there are candidates we try to help, and the two rely on each other. So it's a parallel set of activities. And the first candidate that's going to talk to you today is Ian Pugh, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Is the microphone on? Right, testing. Hello, can you hear me? Right, hello everyone. My name's Ian Pugh, and I'm from Shrewsbury in Shropshire. And I'd like to thank Jane and all of you guys for having me talk to you today. The reason I am here today is because, as Jane said, I am a successful candidate. And believe me, you will not believe how strange those words sound, considering the last 2.5 years. Over the last 2.5 years, I left university in 2009 with an HND in IT and a Petals Award, and I have been struggling throughout the last 2.5 years to find work, because I've been modifying my CV on those how many times, and I was modifying my cover letters on those how many times, and I was trapped in this continuous loop. And when I started talking to employers, it was like, well, you haven't got experience. Well, hang on a second, how on earth are you meant to get the experience without the job, and vice versa? And it was this attitude towards employers that really struck a chord. Then I was talking to employers again throughout the last 18 months, and the attitude I got was, well, you're not going to be employed because of the practicalities of employing you. No matter how good you are for the position, the companies that I was talking to have said that we will find the excuse not to employ you, not because we're discriminatory or anything like that, but purely because the practicalities made it next to impossible to employ you. The cost of putting in a disabled toilet or the cost of putting in a ramp made it completely impractical, in spite of schemes like Access to Work, which do tend to help you with that. So I registered on Even Break, not expecting that much, to be honest. And you can imagine my surprise when within about 5 minutes sticking in an application to one of the companies, I got an email back saying, we would like to employ you, we would like to contact you for an interview. So once we got communicating, and then I went along for the interview, again not expecting very much, and I was really struck with how much the company, which is called Euromixers, really seemed to value me and make me feel at ease. Because the interview process I had gone through before, which was very limited, I've probably had about 3 interviews in 2.5 years, made me feel quite nervous about declaring my disability, which is quite obvious. But also, when I was asked questions about my disability, it was always made me to seem intimidated, and they always seemed to ask them for a long time. Like towards the end of the interview, when you would seem to have your confidence reasonably high, seem having done reasonably well in the interview, and then they'd ask these questions at the end, which would make you feel like you were coming out feeling rather nervous. And I'm not just talking about the usual post-interview nerves. So anyway, Euromixers took a chance on me. They've employed me for a 6-month contract, and I'm doing some IT work with them, which is very rewarding. It's mainly designing a system, which is very interesting. I have, as I said, just done the first phase of it, and they're talking about extending the system even further because they're so happy with it. As I said, my confidence when Jane first met me was through the floor, being frank, because I was constantly being knocked back by the major recruitment companies, constantly being knocked back by employers, constantly being knocked back by everyone else I talked to. It was just so demoralising and so unbelievably irritating when I knew that it mainly wasn't my fault that I was being knocked back. And so, as I say, Euromixers has really changed my life for the better, because it's given me the confidence to do things that I would never have dreamed of. Thank you.
That's why we exist.